Our first guest is a board-certified doctor in naturopathy and certified holistic health practitioner who guides her clients towards achieving a restorative postpartum journey. Overcoming C-section, birth trauma, rebuilding your gut health, restoring emotional and spiritual balance, and navigating seasonal pivots are all areas of her specialty. And in her latest book, The Whole Mother Method, Dr. Zamor takes readers into the depths of her own tragic experience with a near-death C-section birth experience. And the Whole Mother Method helps you see yourself with compassion and kindness while demystifying some of the most supportive naturopathic forms of care for recovery. And joining us to share more is holistic health practitioner and author, Dr. Laura Eustache Zamor. Hello and welcome back.
Hello, Rhina. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you back. How far back did we have you on? I know it was for the book, The Audacity to Finish.
Correct. It's been about 6 years.
6 years?
Yes, about 6 years.
And you haven't aged a bit.
Oh, thank you. Neither
Yes.
have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
No.
But congratulations on
Thank
your
you so
second book.
much. Thank you so much.
And congratulations on becoming a doctor.
Thank you.
And congratulations on becoming a mom again.
Yes, that part too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. We're going to talk about
Yes.
the complications in the
Yes.
process.
Yes.
But that's the inspiration behind this book. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that journey.
So the journey begins with the near-death C-section experience in the December of 2016. And for any woman who's had a natural birth, and what we say natural birth, we just mean by vaginal delivery, you don't really necessarily anticipate that you're going to have a C-section birth for your next birth. And so for us, for me, my husband, my family, you know, I had hyperemesis gravidarum, I had polyhydramnios, so I was under supervision, and they had labeled me immediately high risk. But I had...
Can you translate that in English?
Oh. Hyperemesis gravidarum is a condition, a gestational condition, which impacts about 2 to 4% of women, and it's marked by excessive vomiting. It's not your typical morning sickness.
Got
And
it.
so IV treatments, ketones in the urine are certain types of manifestations. And so for me, it really caused me to have to step away from being a full-time school counselor. I was really kind of on bed rest, just really taking myself away from the main stage,
Got
right?
it.
And so I was being observed by specialists, and I had developed a good rapport with my practitioner, but early on I started to observe that the traditional way that our family approached being pregnant and et cetera, she really wasn't with that. And so there became some type of friction immediately in terms of the way she wanted to manage my care. And so, you know,
Just out of curiosity, did you have a doula?
and you know what's so funny about that? My doula, she was actually in Ghana at the time. And so we would communicate through Skype at that time. It wasn't Zoom. That's how far back. But we were
That was right before.
yeah, the explosion of that. But we were in dialogue because I started to feel like the communication that I was supposed to have, the trust factor with my practitioner, it was not there. Just because she wasn't able to really accept the whole familial dynamic, and she really wanted to do things her way.
Right.
So long story short, you know, when I went into labor, and every labor process is different, and I
Right.
think that's really important for moms to understand. It was a slow, like mucus plug, different things started to transpire where they just told me, I'm dehydrated, let's give you some IV. And from there it moved to another intervention. And from there it moved to a steroid injection, which basically had my son stop moving for 8 hours. And that, at that point, myself, my husband, my extended family, we knew something was wrong. And even though I had been observed or was being observed by specialists, they advocated that I would be induced in a safe window, right, at 37 and a half weeks because I had that heavy water weight. That's what polyhydramnios does to you.
Right.
For my frame, I was experiencing like some complications. And so the decision was, until your practitioner says yes, we cannot say yes to the induction. Long story short, she would not sign off on it. There were a lot of things, and I discussed that thoroughly in
Right.
the Whole Mother Method.
Right.
But essentially, I had to be induced at the last hour anyway.
Right.
And my son, he got stuck on the pubic bone. He wasn't turning face down. And long story short, I had a C-section that basically nearly took my life. And so that experience was something that was so transformative for me. I felt ungrounded. I felt like a sense of violation, you know, because you put your trust in your practitioner. You wanted to have
Right,
that
they're the
relationship.
specialist.
Yes,
Yes.
there's a trust.
Right.
I'll stick with that
Right.
word because it's what it is.
Right,
And
got it.
birth is such a transformative experience. You know, it's such a sacral chakra violation when you are not able to trust the person that's responsible for your care. And the
My
funny,
hairs are standing
yes,
right now
I mean,
as you're speaking, because
yes.
we both know that the spiritual
Yes,
aspect
like
of our
birth,
existence,
exactly.
of our existence, just
Yes.
starting with you
Yes.
as the mother,
Yes.
was already guiding you in a certain way, and
Exactly.
you went against it.
And that's exactly the word. And so even in the book, guiding through my experience, it's like you're not saying that you're against any particular type of birth. Women have this type of birth for many different medical reasons.
Right.
Right? So we're not speaking against that. We're speaking about control. We're talking about power struggle. We're talking about communication. We're talking about trust. All things that matter when a woman is about to give birth. And you are very fragile. And so for me, that entire experience, after it was over, I was asked to forgive. My practitioner asked me to forgive her. And there were all types of, you know, conversation. But for me, I just felt like, where do I go from here?
Right.
I had no preparation and plan because I didn't think I was having a C-section.
Right.
And there was so much I didn't know.
Right.
On a
and
physical
just
level.
from an emotional level, right?
From an
Because
emotional, for
Right,
sure.
because you talk about that in the book
Yes.
as well, right? And,
Yes.
and then there's the that what you're referencing right now, and not being prepared to have a
Prepared,
C-section,
correct.
and so you kind of feel cheated in a way.
Correct.
Even though
Yes.
you had a natural childbirth
Yes,
already,
the
so you
first
already
one.
know what that feels like.
Yes.
So then this
Yes.
time it's kind of like, wait a minute, I got
Yes.
shortchanged here.
Yes. And absolutely, and you know, when I think about it, when you're experiencing birth trauma, like you hear a lot of these words and these hashtags and statistics, but the experience, and that's what I really wanted the reader, when you say, I want you to feel seen.
Right.
A lot of women feel afraid to talk about that trauma because it's perceived your child is okay.
Right.
And there was trauma for both of us.
Right.
We both were not okay.
Right.
Right.
I know you reference the throat chakra a lot.
Yes,
in
I
the book
do.
As well.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
the reason for that is because, you know, when you're looking at the endocrine system, you're looking at glandular communication. And when a woman is not able to express, to verbalize, and or release, especially thoughts, experiences, you see tons of endocrine system dysregulation, right?
it.
So the hair is thinning, it's falling out. You may see the period or the menstruation is not right. It's not regular. So many different things, your sleeping patterns can be disrupted.
Right.
And that all stems from a shame.
Right.
An inability to communicate, like, I was not okay with this birth. It could have been prevented. And the group, because you have fellow women who feel like this was their choice. They wanted this type of delivery.
Right.
And you don't want to offend them.
Right,
You
right.
have the aspect of the practitioner,
Right.
a woman who looked like
Right,
me,
right.
right, ethnically.
Right.
And you don't want to violate them. You don't want to get them in trouble.
Right.
So there's so many different layers to that experience.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot to harbor.
Yeah.
Right? No. Because,
Right, no.
All right, so
Yes.
here I'm going to share, you know, on a personal level.
Yes.
I went to Lamaze and everything, and I ended up getting a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to overcome, and I had to do a lot of internal work
Yes.
because while it was in the best interest of my daughter
Mm-hmm.
being delivered healthy, I felt cheated.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, reading, you know, some chapters in your book and appreciating more than anything that you're also giving advice and instructions on how you can be with self
Yes.
and self-heal
Yes.
and use natural elements to,
Yes.
to just honor
That- yes, where
honor
you
the
are.
fact that,
Yes.
honor the fact that it exists, right?
Yes,
That there's
absolutely.
no brushing it under the carpet.
Right.
That
Sitting with it, being
Right,
present in
right,
it.
right.
And it's so interesting because when you're a mother, and I speak to many different aspects in the book, I speak to being a woman of a millennial generation, being an immigrant daughter, right? And just the different spaces that we have to move in terms
and
of
having a person of color be your doctor.
Exactly,
Right.
you know,
And I want
yes,
to mention that because
absolutely.
that's where you're like, okay, I want to
The
protect
trust,
them, right?
right,
But then it's like, wait a
absolutely.
minute, you're supposed to have my best interests at heart.
Correct.
Right.
There's so many elements there. And even I remember going back to the doctor for my first postpartum visit, and I was scared. You know, like there's no conversation about what that's like. My husband being my protector, and, you know, I don't want to use the word feeling intimidated, but really having to safeguard because there was a major violation there, and even that postpartum care. And I said to myself, how many of us are out there who have had this experience but don't have anywhere to put it. And that's what started the podcast, right? I called it The Beautiful Struggle, because at that point, I was a mom of already a toddler,
Right.
and it was the beautiful struggle. I'm struggling with the fact that I'm not returning to my place of work. You know, you're talking about, you know, female empowerment and all these, and financial stability and all these things. You know, you go to school for a degree.
Yeah, and you're a communicator.
Yes, I am.
And
so,
a nurturer, I might add, because you
absolutely.
also help the next generation
Absolutely.
find
And
their
so,
way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, coming from that school counseling background, what do I do with all of this now that I'm home? And how do I heal myself in a way that makes sense? And that's what the book is about. It's about offering options that can make sense for a mother.
Right.
The educational portion is breaking down all these different options and seeing what works.
Right.
Having the skill set to understand, or the knowledge rather, to understand what works.
Right.
And so for me, sitting in that space, it is not the best thing, it's not the most fun thing, but it's reality.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and also for clarity purposes, it
Yeah.
isn't solely about having a C-section. It's about postpartum, because
Yes.
everything shifts.
Everything.
Everything, and we're running out of time. And I'm like, well, panicking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'm panicking. I'm like,
know,
okay,
yeah.
wait. We got to make sure we get everything
Yes,
right.
yes.
So we've got the book, and
Yes.
then I wanted to also talk about apothecary.
Yes.
Company. Yeah.
Yes, Kaigun Apothecary. I call that, it's Haitian Creole for my grandmother's house. And really it just features products, herbs, oils, tinctures that really support grounding emotionally, mentally, physically, just to support the body, overall wellness, health and wellness. And so I started that as part of it. I practice iridology, so it really speaks to the entire way that I support mothers.
Right, which is mindfully and intentionally.
Yes.
And the book actually serves also as a good reference guide, because she's
Yes.
got a lot of remedies in it.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for bringing it here.
Oh, yes.
I know we can keep going on. You
I
used
know.
the podcast,
I
but
know.
that's
I
not
know.
what today is.
I
so-
know.
But we're
And
happy you brought it here.
And I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share, rest, replenish, reevaluate.
Those are the 3 R's.
Yes, of the method itself.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Laura Eustache Zamor, everyone. Doctor in naturopathy, certified holistic health practitioner, and Whole Mother Method author. And once again, the Whole Mother Method is out now, where all books are sold. And for more information, you can visit LLHproductionsLLC.com. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return.